Um, Perfect. Welcome everybody to our Chosewood Park Neighborhood Association meeting. This is for the month of June 2023. This meeting will be run under Robert's Rules of Order. If you have a question, please raise your hand and wait to be called upon before speaking. If you are an elected official, please put your information in the chat. I did speak with Councilmember Winston today, and I know he's got a lot going on his plate. So I told him he could skip tonight's meeting. He was already informed of what's on our agenda. So, and like us having a light agenda, he was given a pass for tonight. First off, let's and also for voting. In order to be voting for our voting matters this evening, you will need to be a resident of Chosewood Park, have attended at least 3 meetings in the last 12 months, and at least be 18 years of age, or have a business located within Chosewood Park. Connor, if you could do me a favor and put up the May agenda.
Sure, one moment here.
Before we move on for tonight's agenda, we just want to make sure, are there any objections that are to the May agenda from 2023?
I got a new computer. Okay, start from the top here.
Oh, the bird. That was so much fun. All right, are there any objections? Please raise your hand if you have an objection to the May 2023 agenda. Okay, seeing no objections, we will have this consent as a move on to the June agenda. Are there it's okay. Are there any changes or any opposition for the June agenda 2023? Please use the raised hand feature. All right, seeing no objections, we will move on with the agenda. So first off is our public safety officer report, which we do not have a public safety officer that has been attending regularly on our meetings. I do suggest attending the MPU meeting next week on Monday. Actually, correct me, is that Tuesday this coming?
Yes, the MPUY meeting will be held on Tuesday at 7 p.m. due to Juneteenth on Monday. So we do recognize national holidays, or I think it's now a national holiday, which is great. So we are moving it to Tuesday. The meeting information is on mpuy.org. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat for everybody as well.
Thank you, Madam Vice.
Additionally, if you have anything that you need from a public safety, you may also email Gloria. She's our public safety committee. I'll put her information as well.
All right, thank you. Before I move on there, Paul, I see you have your hand raised. Would you like the floor?
Yes, this is Paul McMurray. I've made numerous complaints about 386 Donna Boulevard. It's the one with that's where the retail store doesn't sell you anything and the chicken place sells you drugs. Well, I went by there and just want to report to everyone that I saw an eviction notice on it. So, but that was probably done by the owner. But and the store is boarded up, and there's a lock on the chicken stand. But all the people there are still hanging around, even though they can't get anything. So I just I think maybe the owner might be available to sell it. That's all. It's all boarded up. He's got all these people. He can't kick off the property because they won't leave. So you know, it might give him an opportunity. So
all right. Yeah, I have noticed a downturn in the foot traffic and the vehicles and that unit being boarded up. So that definitely plays a part of public safety. Hopefully, the owner can make some decisions with it to get that corner cleaned up. There's been quite a few complaints regarding that particular location. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
Cole, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, just to comment on that. I pushed really hard with Major Ricker and the solicitor's office that they were not operating under the pretext of their zoning and what their business was organized as. So hopefully that had a major impact on it. They were not able to do any sort of finding of drugs on the premises because they did not have enough I guess, evidence that they were able to do a full raid again, which I know was done years previous without any really major outcome to benefit the community. So as you do see loiterers there though, just call into 311, I believe is who you would call. I'll make sure with APD though on next Tuesday, because with other properties, they have said if you have people that are hanging out in parking lots to make sure to call.
All right. Thank you, Nicole. So as far as public safety, as I mentioned before, if you want a more in-depth public safety report, Tuesday at 7 p.m., we will be having the MPU meeting. Comments, moving on to the comments from our elected officials. As I mentioned earlier, Jason Winston isn't here this evening. Let me see, are there any other elected officials that are here this evening? I do not see any. All right. We will move on to our treasurer report. Christina. Is Christina on tonight? I do not see Christina, but she did share the the report with us. Do you have that, Connor?
Yes, I do.
You do? Okay.
Okay, you guys cannot see the. Let me just go down here a little bit. Okay, that should do the trick, right?
That's perfect. So this is also the CDC account. So if we want to go ahead and turn that floor over, since our treasurer isn't here tonight, to Paul McMurray for the CDC, and you guys can go over the treasurer report as well.
Paul, do you want to take over or would you like to start?
Let's start that. Excuse me. Just wanted to report that, and Nicole filled in that the application, in fact, was a big hands out. Well, good job, Nicole, because she submitted with the help of others. Tarn Arbor is one of them, and a application to get money from the federal government, and we actually got it, and it's funded for about somewhere around $1 million. So that was a great thing. I hope we can do more grants. So I'll go on to Nicole. She's the secretary. She has all the information anyway. So.
All right, so let's jump back to the treasurer's report real quick. So on the treasurer's report, the bank account, we were able to get us a bank card. So hopefully we will do less of our reimbursement. So we'll actually see what our transactions are for in an easier manner through our bank and through QuickBooks, which we are setting up as well. You can see we also ordered new checks. So if you do have any reimbursements, please send those reimbursements to Christina. She'll be able to get that over to you. Otherwise, the only thing that's on here is our dividends. So we really didn't spend out any money on here. I know there are a couple of expenses that still need to be reimbursed. That those are part of the LACFC grant. Otherwise, we have not had much transactions going through here, so that's good to know. So to switch over to our CDC account, a couple things to go over. Thank you, Paul. We did get our grant that we applied for. This is a state funded grant through Georgia, which is for COVID relief, and it was for our improvements at our park. So we had a small grant committee of Taryn Lane and Laura Colbert and myself. And so we submitted this grant for $980,000. They approved over $1 million with contingency funds. So that way, if there's a budget change, that we have a little bit of leeway. This is part of our complete projects, which includes our stream restoration, our bridge, and what the grant will be covering is a Gulf Street entrance. So this will be an entrance from Galt Street that goes down to the bridge. This is ADA accessible, parking, you name it. We've got it all put in there. So a big thanks out to our grant committee team. It was an amazing accomplishment for CDC to be able to push a grant like this. Also with that, we are working with Friends of Chosewood Park, Park Pride, and other organizations such as Atlanta Housing and the city of Atlanta for our infrastructure bond. So we have a huge project going with this. Another thing going on with CDC right now is Unity Day with MPUI. Connor, there's some feedback. Do you mind muting others?
Sure, and it might be me. Let's see.
Or Jacobs. So we have Unity Day, which is held through our CIG grant through MPUI. CDC has allowed us to use the accounts as a nonprofit in order to facilitate the fiduciary process of the grant. So you will see some of these on the report, on the bank statements. As money comes in, it does go out for another grant, just so that we can manage it all in one account. We are though switching over to a QuickBooks process, which is also covered under our park grant. So we're going to be having a little better accounting system than having statements. So hopefully everybody will be able to see how that works. Any questions?
Great job on that grant. That's incredible.
Yeah, thank the team. They did a really good job putting everything together. It was great teamwork.
Nicole, can you mention the other people that worked on that grant?
Yes, so that is Taryn, Ann Lane, and Laura.
I was also gonna say,
names, because not everyone knows what the first name is attached to.
Sorry, Taryn Arbiter, Lane, I always say it Lane's
Landwin. It's okay.
Landwin and Laura Colbert.
I was gonna say now is maybe a good time to also mention that Nicole will be hired as a part of this grant. So do you want to speak to that, Nicole?
Yeah, absolutely. So CDC, we had a meeting before we applied for the grant, just to either, also to approve our process with the grant. As a part of our conditions was to have somebody that was on staff to actually manage this funds. That will be just for the day-to-day. We have reporting, we have audits, and also manage our procurement process, as this is federal procurement process. So there's a lot that rides on making sure that this is done properly. Part of that is to actually be employed or contracted by the CDC. As I'm on the board, we chose with employment. So it's at a very low rate over the course of 3 years, but it does cover the basics that is required by the state. So we are working with a pro bono Atlanta law firm in order to assist us with our contracts. So we just got their service agreement to fill out and apply to work with them. Otherwise, we will be looking into other services if we're not able to secure that.
Okay. It's a lot. The grants.
So exciting. I was just going to say it's so exciting, that we can move into possibly having an employee, because that just opens up the options for the future as well. So very exciting.
Yep. Big steps, guys. Great job. I can't commend you guys enough for all the hard work you put in. Is there any questions for the CDC for the benefit of the body?
Just for my notes, I'm sorry, I kind of ADD'd out there for a second. Nicole, you'll be an employee of which?
So I will have a contract of employment with CPCDC.
Okay, perfect.
Already a board member on, so it's just instead of just 100% volunteer, just for this work that goes with the grant, will actually be paid.
Great. I just want to make sure I got it in the minutes, right?
Yes. Big steps. Record those. Okay, well, moving on. I know I bounced around there because of our Christina wasn't able to make it this evening, so I skipped you, Taryn, as far as the Friends of Chosewood Park. So let's bounce back to you if there are no questions for the CDC. Taryn, you have the floor for Friends of Chosewood Park Community Report.
Thank you. Can you let me share my screen?
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Is it letting you do it yet?
Yes, it is.
Great.
All right. So, okay. For Friends of Chosewood Park, our let's see our upcoming events. We have on Saturday, June 17th, which is this Saturday, our Q2 workday. And for that workday, we're going to be focusing on trail maintenance. So we'll be removing some invasive plants around the trail and also spreading a bunch of mulch on the trail and kind of widening it for the summer season. On June 20th, we have artist Nyla Smith installing the first phase of the tennis court mural. So that'll be exciting. Go give her a holler if you're in the park. And then on July 15th, we have our Q3 public meeting. And this is a good chance just to give your feedback about what you think should be happening with the park. And, you know, if you're interested in becoming involved, that's also a good idea to attend. So if you navigate to our website, which is focwp.org/events, you can find the Zoom link to our meeting. In the past month, we did on Sunday, May 28th, we did playground polishing where we power washed the playground and the tennis court. So thanks to everybody who volunteered and showed up. Choose Atlanta will be starting their kudzu control on the east side of the park at the end of June. And as far as the Galt Street entrance and Unity Bridge project, like Nicole announced, we now have $1 million more in addition to the $1 million municipal bond fund to get that project done. So our next step is to meet with the city and kind of define the scope of work between the city and CPC. And for the playgrounds, we have a parents advisory group that's been working on giving feedback about potential playground designs, and we received another round of concepts today with that will fit within an expanded footprint for the playground. So that's really exciting. And in July, we'll meet with the city to kind of finalize the concept and then talk about next steps as far as how it will get done. And part of that will be us applying for additional grant funding from Park Pride. As far as small projects go, you may notice that there were bollards installed in May that will prevent folks from driving onto the baseball diamond and will keep the turf in good shape. And then we have some other small projects that are listed here that we're working on, but a lot of our effort is going towards the big projects of replacing the playground and working on the bridge. That's all I have.
This is
I guess I was muted there. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I was just saying, I'll go ahead and let Nicole have the floor, but I had a question about the Unity Bridge. So Nicole, you have the floor.
Yes, so I just wanted to say thank you to Friends of Chosewood Park as a whole organization. The grant and everything that is going on, that none of that would have been possible with the organization structure and how they are committed to their projects. So just thank you to the team.
Yay. Thank you, Nicole. And thanks to you. Nicole's so hardworking.
Paul, you have the floor.
I'd just like to bring up this idea I was thinking about, especially since Taryn is here. We're going to have a presentation about 1213 Hill Street, which is like Zero Englewood, which she talked about a couple of months ago. And I was thinking that there's a lot of land between that development and where the 202 Milton Avenue is. And part of 202 Milton Avenue is the old playground for the school. And I don't really see where Crazy Horse, I'm sorry, well, the company that currently has not developed 202 Milton Avenue has any use for that property, and that Chosewood Park CDC and Friends of Chosewood Park should approach, I believe it's Crazy Horse, that's what they call themselves, that own it, and say, why don't you donate it to the CDC or Friends of Chosewood Park, or even the city of Atlanta, because ultimately we want to make it a city park. So there's actually a lot of land, between the Hill Street lofts, those, as you know, and it's full of kudzu and all this stuff. So if we could somehow look at all those properties, since no one's building on them, and look at an opportunity to maybe have it donated. So therefore, Friends of Chosewood Park can get rid of the kudzu or through the city, and it is probably the last stand of actually mature trees that exists in that corridor. And we look at it and we always say, gee, I wish we could clean that up. And I think it's an opportunity, because I don't see the owners of 202 Milton Avenue doing anything with it.
All right. So the question, I guess, was to wrap this up for the sake of time, figuring out a way to maybe talk to individuals at, I guess, are we talking about Crazy Legs Productions?
Crazy Legs, that's it. Crazy Legs, right? Crazy Legs.
To maybe do a donation to Friends of Chosewood Park.
Yeah,
So-
because land is a specific production capability. I don't know what else those guys are doing. No, they hadn't done anything, so I don't know. But and then get all the developers around it to maybe support it with some playground equipment, and just a swing set, whatever. The main thing is to preserve the trees and the needed space, that's needed with all the development around it, and to keep the trees up. You see, so that's the idea.
All right. Thank you, Paul. All right. Is there any other questions for Taryn for the benefit of the body regarding the Friends of Chosewood Park? Okay. Well, Taryn, great job. We really appreciate all that you do for the neighborhood. As always, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come to tonight's meeting and give us the lowdown of all the wonderful things that you guys are accomplishing. Thank you very much. All right, we will move on that was our last committee report. Actually, we do have a transportation committee, but I'm not sure if Julie is on. Julie is not on the meeting. I know that she had a prior engagement, so I'll text her and see if she wants to be able to come back in. We will move on to our voting matters and come back to our transportation committee if Julie gets on. So our voting matters for this evening, we have 1213 Hill Street, or also Z 23-036. We have the team here from that development, I believe, that would like to do a presentation. So we are going to allow them to do their presentation. You guys have the floor. If you have any questions, let's please ask these after the presentation. I'm going to give you guys, I know you have a lot to go over because it's a large site, so we'll give you 5 minutes. And then as far as questions go, let's keep our questions. I'll set the timer for 30 seconds. And then we will allow you to have a rebuttal for each question. So you guys have the floor. Jeff, take it away there.
Jeff, do you want me to start? It's John Clark.
Oh,
Please
I'm sorry.
do.
Sorry, John.
Please do, John.
Oh, that's what. Okay. Can we share the screen? Because I've got some pictures and the site plan and all that good stuff.
Yes, you should be able to. Let me know if you cannot.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, thanks for having us tonight. We appreciate it. So what I've done is I've sort of brought the whole team in because I'm assuming we're going to have a lot of questions. I want to make sure that I can get those answered for you tonight. So I brought the civil engineer, architect, and the zoning attorney. So we got it all here so we can get the questions answered. So we've done this little presentation here so we can go to the site plan. So here's the site plan that has so far. We went to the CRC. The comments have been addressed so far on this site plan. And we're proposing single family detached homes for sale with connectivity. So if you look at the site plan here, with the CRC, we had a very good meeting. The watershed department, with the zoning that we're proposing, we came up with a conclusion that we don't need to use or move the sewer line and still keep a good looking subdivision. So that was a huge plus. So the money that we budgeted for that brought in the connectivity for the street. So it worked for us and it worked for Watershed. Also, I think it was Susan Coleman had some great ideas about some of the parks. Can you see my little cursor thing here? Yeah, okay. So like a little doggy park there and like a little park down through here, fire pit. And I think there was one other one that we're trying to get in through here. But the big one was in the back on the top here. That's the highest part of the lot. That's probably not the best looking part of the subdivision as well, that we are going to do some kind of gazebo, fire pit, something that would really bring some sizzle and fun to the subdivision with the views of the city. And so we have not put that on there yet. We're open for discussion on that. But like tonight's thing is totally be transparent. I want feedback, questions. We have everything here. We're excited about how it looks. As far as architecture, this is where we're going for. So I'm sure we're familiar with Glenwood Park. It's that sort of Hedgewood design, cottagey, high-end finishes. Each house is different, but they all sort of conform at the end of the day. Serenbe look. And we're trying to get, because we haven't got that far in it, but off-street parking on all of these things. So for like this one, these would be going across the top of the hill on the northern lot, because the lots are 25 by 60, and you'd have the drive underneath. And across the street from those would be something like that, or something like this, with the back would be 3 stories with the driveway in the back with the parking underneath the house. Let me see. Am I stuck? There we go. There's another cool one. So if we can't get the parking, it would be tandem parking, but I believe we can do that because the lots, it's such a bad topo that we can work a lot with getting the parking in. There's some more views. So think of more Serenbe, Hedgewood, also like Hill Street. I know they're townhomes up on Summerhill that Hedgewood's doing now, but that's the architecture and the look that we're going for. That's the what? The site plan? Yeah, we'll go to the site plan. So, that's what we have for tonight. And if you have any questions on that, that's what we're looking to propose.
All right. Well, John, thank you. Let's leave up this site plan because I'm sure that's probably will help us, direct as many of these questions as we have. If you guys are all finished, then I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor for questions. Is that okay?
Great. Yeah, no, absolutely. I didn't want to take too much time with the presentation. I think you see what we're doing, but we'll leave more time for the real questions.
All right. Well, the first hand that I have raised is Peyton Harm. You have your hand raised.
Hey, my question was, who are the builder, the architect, and the civil engineer on the site? And then what do you anticipate the for sale price to be?
Kevin Marr is the architect with Space Makers, and civil engineer is Sam with Sam. What's the name of the company? Sorry, Contigo. Continuo Group. And builder, I don't know yet. I haven't gotten that far. I would be partnering with some builder on that project. And the number for the product, I think we're starting around 775 in that range. And I'm assuming the ones on the hill that are a little bit bigger might be probably low 8.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'm really a big fan of the Hedgewood architecture. So
Yeah, me too.
definitely like that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peyton. Thank you, John. Paul, you have your hand raised. You have the floor.
I got 3 questions. First is, how are you going to get the, sorry.
The what? I'm sorry, Paul, I didn't hear you.
Paul, we lost you there. Are you on mute?
All right, now you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, 3 questions. How are you, it says in the site plan that the lots are 1,500 square feet. So how are you going to meet the 0.5 FAR ratio on each individual unit? Is there an opportunity to get a second parking spot per unit? And the third one, would you support with the other developers to get some of this land that on the displayed map is approximately where the phase 1 and phase 2 is? This is the old playground area of the Milton Avenue School. And a lot of these properties along here beyond that are unbuildable.
Paul, you're at your 30 seconds. Let's let John answer those first 3 questions.
Yeah, Paul, I think that as far as the 1,500 square foot lot, that goes underneath civil with Sam, and he can answer that for me.
Yeah, so we're basing the FAR off the gross property area, our gross lot area. So what's shown on the plan is based off looking at the entire site, the overall picture. So I think we have just I don't think you can see it on this, but we have a site data table on what was submitted that talks about the residential floor area over the gross land area. So gross land area includes right of ways and half the right of way and any alleyways as well. And so our residential floor area is just it's just the maximum allowed. We're going to maximize these lots as to up to the half 0.5 FAR. So that's the intent, and that's kind of where it comes from the site down the site data table.
And if I, Paul, could piggyback off of that, obviously the site right now is zoned R4A. That's got a 0.5 FAR. We're seeking a rezoning to PDH. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
And we understand we need to be what is referred to as density neutral. So we've got the 0.5, that's gross land area, or excuse me, gross lot area. We're modeling it off of the development that was just approved through the neighborhood and ultimately the ZRB and the City Council there at the corner of Climax Street and Milton Avenue. And so the way the city calculated that is based on a gross lot area over the entire site. So that's how we get to the 0.5. And as Sam said, that's our maximum. And then if you divide that GLA by 45 units, which is proposed site plan, that puts each unit at roughly somewhere around 2,400 square feet per unit. And then your other question was,
Yeah,
I accidentally muted you.
Yeah, it was regarding phase 1 and phase 2, where that is on your map. That's actually not technically y'all's property. That's where Crazy Legs Productions is at. I'm not sure how that would balance out on you guys having a conversation with them.
I was going to talk to him, and I think her name was Nicole, the developer next to that, because we're not benefiting for having that street go through. They would be benefiting for that street to go through. So I was going to have some kind of dialogue with them, sort of if they were going to do something to play off of ours architecturally wise, or so it just looks good going down that street. So Paul, to answer your question, I was going to talk to him. I don't know what his plan is. I know that that's a good zoned lot. I don't know if he would donate something like that, but I don't know. I could ask.
I was just talking about the general idea of all the lots north of Chadwick and Climax, a lot of them are unbuildable. So I think we get all the developers coming together and saying it would be good to have a plan to maintain that property as it is, with no building on it.
Got it. Yeah, I could ask him. I got his number actually today, so I could ask him and see what his plan is.
All right. Thank you, Paul, for the question. Thank you guys for the answers. Let's move on to our next hand that is raised. I'm not sure which Duval we have here, but welcome, guys, and you have the floor. Lovett or Valencia?
It's both of us are here. Thanks, Jacob.
Yep.
The question I have, my dad's trying to understand where on Hill Street is that. So if you're coming from Inglewood and you're heading east, that'll be west down to Hill Street, where is this property?
It's almost straight ahead.
To the left. Yeah, it's directly ahead where Stanley Martin is being built right now. And
Okay.
they're just to the left of that. And it runs up that hill, that real steep embankment, and runs back over towards Milton Avenue.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Nicole, you have the floor.
Thank you. If you could just touch a couple details about the ADA accessibility and walkability of your community. And then the question that I have was about the green spaces that you have opened up. How will that be maintained? Is that a third-party company? Is that going to be held by you guys privately? Just what does that look like in the future, long run?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a part of the covenants and maintained by the subdivision. I don't have an answer yet. I know there was talk about the gazebo or whatever up there having public access, but I think that's a great idea. I think I might have kickback from the people who are paying $800,000 and that's in their backyard, but it's similar to like in Florida and Destin, you can have a bonfire on the beach, but you got to pull a permit, and they sort of get on the same page with the neighbors there. So something that have some kind of, they can have access, but the neighbors know with a permit, so you can have a party, but at the same time, somebody could be up there and they're not having a party at 1 a.m. and they illegally can, and it's disturbing the neighbors. So I'm trying to figure out what's the cool thing that will work in that neighborhood so the neighbor could use it and the neighbors or the owners would be happy with the situation. But the rest of the grounds would be maintained because it's going to be heavily landscaped by the neighborhood, this neighborhood, Hill Street there.
And then if you'll just talk about the walkability, so we see a lot of sidewalks and green space and the connectivity that goes for the new Climax Street connection to Hill Street, that's all ADA accessible, correct?
That would be Sam.
Yeah, so I mean, to the extent that the existing road and grades allow, it'll be ADA accessible. There are sidewalks along on both sides of all private drives. We'll improve sidewalks that go from all the way from Climax, from Hill to Milton Avenue. So I apologize, my dog was going crazy. But
I guess the dog gets you, Sam?
This is Kevin Marr, the architect. I can jump in there with what Sam was saying. Yeah, to the extent that the grades allow, we will have ADA accessibility. On steep grades, ADA is not required, and we have some steep grades on this site.
Yeah, you definitely have some topography to on this.
For sure.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. Taryn, you have your hand raised. You have the floor.
Hey, thank you. I really appreciate how this is building out the street grid and the connectivity between Hill Street and Milton. I think that's really great for the neighborhood. as I recall, I think there might be a few trees there, but I do know I think kudzu has killed a lot of them so far. Is there a plan to either preserve any canopy or plant canopy trees in any of these?
Yeah, there was a lot of dead trees from the arborist report from the kudzu and God knows what else. But yeah, I mean, we're going back with heavy landscaping. So I know that we're going to replace the few trees that are good specimens with a lot more oak and mature type trees. So yes, definitely that's in the budget.
Yeah, and to on top of that, we'll have a landscape architect who's not involved right now, but will be involved, and they'll be there to design all landscaping aspects and replacing any trees that are removed because of grading and houses coming in.
Right. I thank you guys. These are all wonderful questions, and hopefully, John, this is helping you guys with seeing where the neighborhood's head is at.
Yeah.
I had one question that I wanted to ask, and it's something that we're kind of running into right now on a few other locations, and it's access to these alleyways. Hill Street is going to continue to become more of a thoroughfare as we have more of these residents that come in, especially for access from the west side to the east side going down Inglewood. Do you have any type of idea, or have you guys thought about maybe possibly opening up the alleyways running down Hill Street, which would allow all those properties to have an access point? Is that something you guys have thought about or talked about?
What do you mean? I'm not understanding. Like Chadwick?
Not
And-
Chadwick, not the old streets, but specifically the alleyways. I'm just trying to squint at it and see it. My eyes aren't that great. But it looks like, your setback is on the back side of the alleyway. So there's still another, obviously 5 feet between.
Oh,
And same, it looks, I can't tell if it's running all the way down Hill Street on the north side, but it's definitely visible on the south side.
like through here, you mean?
Not necessarily through there, which would be access for the residents on Milton, but specifically for the Hill Street residents. A lot of them don't really have much off-street parking.
Like here?
Where the pointer is at right now.
Yeah, like this right here?
That, and if you go up to your next row,
Right here?
to your left or south, the other direction.
I think it's lots like 14 through 21, John.
Yeah.
Oh, like here?
Yes.
Okay, so we don't know what we're doing actually there because the sewer, we're allowed to put driveways over the sewer, if I understand it right. And then we kept, that's right. And we added this. So if we did have some alleyway, they would have access from the back. So I'm sorry, and your question was again?
It was specifically, the question was for Hill Street, but obviously the property has, multiple alleyways that were accessible from Milton, from here, as that was the connectivity years and years ago.
Jacob, I could answer that question, I think, as to those lots that you're specifically referencing. On the survey, it's not noted that there's an alley in between those lots and the back of the lots that face on Hill Street. But on the other tract, that is to say on the tract west of Climax Street, there are alleys anywhere from 10 to 15 feet.
Okay. I'm surprised. I thought that there was alleyway access there before. And it's kind of strange because it looks like you've got the northern side, it looks like it goes across where it would be where the sewer line is at.
We added that. Right, Sam? Is that the one I made you add?
Yeah, that's right. That's an easement so that our parcels 21 through 14 could drive and access the rear of their properties, with the thought that because of the topo change, there's probably a chance that you could have garage access underneath on the back side of lots 14 through 21.
Yeah, I'd say so. that was my specific question, just because we have a few, you actually are, there's quite a few legacy residents that run down this street. And we've run into a few issues with developers, and not using the alleyways properly, encroaching on people's property, or, not working with the neighbors to help them be able to get access. And like I said, off-street parking is something that we would like to, if my transportation committee chair was here, she would say this as well. Having some off-street parking for these Hill Street residents would be a good thing for us. Safer pedestrian pathways, things like that. Taryn, you have your hand raised again. You have the floor.
I think I forgot to lower. I'm sorry.
Oh, Julie is here. Julie, she says she can't get her, she's not able to talk. Let's see, I don't see, do I see a
It's
call?
*6 or *9 allows phone calls to unmute.
Yeah. I see you on here, Julie. *6 or *9. There you go.
I'm no, I'm just letting you know that I'm here. So it's accent, if you can hear me. Because I heard, but anyways, my internet is also out. So besides running late and having to call in. But okay, but I'm here. But off-street parking is something that's going to be something that's really important. I'm having a hard time seeing the plans, which is also a bummer. So I'm trying to catch up here, y'all. But thanks. Hi, everyone.
I'll send you a picture of this, Julie.
Yeah, can you text it to me? Because, yeah, I know next door's internet's out too. So we're trying to problem solve here as well. Thanks.
Right. Thank you, Julie. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, anything for y'all.
Are there any questions for the benefit of the body for Z23-036? All right.
This is Paul McMurray. I didn't have my hand up, but
Paul, I didn't see it, but you have the floor. Go ahead.
just real quick, I think I asked, I don't know. I'd like not to vote on this until we see the interior mock-ups, if they could be done before the July meeting. But that's just my suggestion, but I would like to see interior mock-ups of what the individual units will look like inside, because I just, I like your design, but I just don't see how you're going to build a decent property on 1,500 square feet. So I just wanted to see what it looked like.
All right. Thank you for the question. I'm assuming that we're so far out from interiors. Obviously, you're still working on the site plan itself. So elevations from this point would not actually be something that we would probably be able to see, Paul, until probably even after the rezoning, just because they have to be able to approve this. And from a standpoint of the developer, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, it'd be pretty costly to go through and massage those blueprints quite a bit prior to the site plan being approved.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Well, if there are no more questions, I'm going to open the floor up. If someone would like to make a motion, Nicole, you have your hand raised.
I would love to motion to approve the application to be rezoned to PDH.
All right. Can we get a second on the motion to approve the rezoning for the neighborhood from a R4 lot to a PDH?
Seconded.
Seconded by Connor. Okay. Do you have the poll lined up? The motion on the floor, Connor, is for approval of the rezoning for Z23-036.
I do not. Sorry. Give me 1 second here.
If we just want to do raise hands, since there's only 24 of us too.
Yeah, that would work.
I just know
Okay.
how long it takes to set those up.
All right. so the motion on the floor is to approve the zoning for Z 23-036 from an R4 to a PDH. All those in favor, please raise your hand now. All right, I'm gonna leave this open for 10 more seconds. All right, I have one. I guess Julie can't put it in the chat here, but what is your tally there, Mr. Secretary?
11. Let me double check it. 3.
You have one in the chat.
All right, then that makes 13.
13?
Yeah, I just recounted 12 plus 1 in the chat, right? Is that what everyone sees?
That's what I'm seeing. I'm having a hard time seeing them all, but yes. I think
So at the top of your participant list, it should actually show you how many participants have a raised hand. It should count it for you.
yeah, it should do that. It's not for me.
I'm wondering because they're sharing the screen. I'm not seeing that. Oh, there it is. Well, it says 10 plus 10 others. So I don't know. I think that count was right though. 3.
So you have 3 in the chat at the moment, plus 4 for Julie, who's voting over the phone. Add 4 to your count of raised.
So 17 then.
17. Yep. Okay.
Great. Thanks.
17 are in favor. You can close those hands out. All of those who wish to oppose Z 23-036 from rezoning an R4 to a PDH, please raise your hand. You got the last 3 here, 4 out.
I would recommend pausing for one moment and having the secretary clear the raised hands on his side as host.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yes, I'm doing it individually because I don't know how to do it with group.
You're more than welcome to also make me co-host if you need assistance with things like that.
In the future, I'll have a poll ready. But now I think everyone's hands are down, so we are good to go.
All right, those who wish to oppose, please raise your hand now. All right, seeing no hands raised, seeing nothing in the chat. All right, we will close that now. And for those who wish to abstain, please raise your hand now. Okay, 0 abstentions. So with a 17 in approval, 0 for no, and 0 abstentions, the motion will carry with a unanimous vote. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time and coming out and answering questions. I know that you guys have spoken with people in the community and have been trying to work on this for a while. So this is very greatly appreciated. We don't always get this type of level of respect from the developers. So it is very nice that you guys were willing to listen to consideration, look at our comprehensive development plan, and put something together that, quite frankly, I think the vote stands for itself here, that the neighborhood supports. So
We're super excited. Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. I'm happy.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to our next agenda item. We have nothing else for voting matters. Where is my agenda? What left?
Here, I'll put it up right there.
Yeah, thanks, Connor. We have old business. Is there any old business that we didn't add to this tonight that somebody might want to bring up? I know we have so much going on in the neighborhood, but I know we're all pretty busy as well. So, Nicole, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I do have an announcement. Christina just texted me and just wanted to make sure that we announce the next porch party is Friday, July 14th at her house. I will be putting the address in the chat. It is at 6 p.m. and on. So please join and mingle with your neighbors. If
What's the
you
date
are
one more
worried, if you know, I'm sorry.
The date one more time, this Friday?
Friday, July 14th. Yes, so that would be this Friday.
Wait. That's
Oh no, sorry, that's next month.
July 14th, right? So next month. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, sorry.
It's not July already.
No.
Okay, if there's no old business that we have, I don't believe we have new business to discuss either. So we'll just move on to our closing statements, announcements. Any concerns that anybody would like to bring up regarding any issues in the neighborhood that you would like to see the executive board possibly tackle? If you have anything that you'd like to throw out, please raise your hand. All right, well, with that, I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it. And once again, another under 1 hour. Brilliant.
Not bad. We're doing pretty good at this, all right?
Yeah, crushing it.
As far as timelines go, let's knock them out.
Yeah.
I like having more free time to work on hobbies and other paperwork.
I would like to, just preface to everybody that's on the meeting that we do vote on this application in July, not in June. So if you want to make sure to support the developer, please come to the MPY meeting in July.
Correct. Okay, well, motion to adjourn this was seconded, so I'm going to officially adjourn the meeting at 8:02 p.m.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Night, guys.
See ya.